The Remembering Them podcast is a platform for people to share stories and memories of their loved ones who have passed away. The podcast was created in memory of Dad, Bob Cecil. May he rest in peace. Your hosts, Mark Cecil and Ryan Thwaites, acknowledge the rich history and importance of storytelling within Indigenous culture.
My name is Jorgi Skeen, and I would like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land in which we meet here today. Today we're meeting in Mianjin, and those traditional owners are the Yagara and Turrbal people, and I'd also like to pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and acknowledge my people, the Gubbi Gubbi people, and extend that acknowledgement to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people listening in today.
Hello Ryan and Luke, welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you, Mark. Thank you, Ryan. Nice to see you both.
I thought Luke might bring us in there.
Well, he is hosting today.
So I'm going to bring mine in.
Okay, fine. Right. It's another interesting person's. Make sure you tick off on all of these intros and outros then, if you're going to lead.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah? Okay, cool. We're back for another interesting person's episode in studio. So generally a shorter, more relaxed episode. We're talking about someone that you may or may not have heard of the host's choosing. And today Luke is taking control. He's in the driver's seat.
All right, you guys ready?
Drive.
Wow.
Let's go.
All right, we're going to start it up with the trivial game to see where we are in the world. So, number one, are you listening, Ryan?
Yeah, I'm
He's just distracted. He's distracted by the lights.
These are sound effects.
Wow.
Yes.
Can I press?
Well, no, because Luke's the host.
Well, we're
All right.
recording now, mate.
I'm wait till my episode.
It's going to be stupid sounds. We apologise.
Question number one. This country has a population smaller than Los Angeles, but has won more FIFA World Cups than England. Wow. That's astonishing.
More than England. That's not too hard, I feel. Sorry to our English supporters. It'd have to be like a Brazil or a...
It's a pretty big country, though. Population less than LA.
Oh, sorry, less than LA.
Less than LA.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. What is LA's population?
Still pretty big,
It's
I
big,
imagine.
man. It's like
lots of
10,
cars over there, I've
15
heard.
million. Not that many. Actually, I know how many cars there are.
Like a small country.
It's got to be, yeah.
Soccer
A lot
loving
of bang
country.
for their buck.
Could be a big country with small population.
Yeah.
Tiny population.
Like Portugal, maybe. Like that kind of
I
thing.
like that.
That's a good guess. You're wrong. You're both wrong.
It's not that good then.
Number two, its national drink requires a straw with a built-in filter because otherwise you'd choke on the leaves in the drink.
It's national drink?
I don't know what it is, but that's.
Sounds tropical.
Sounds like
a
a
coconut kind of thing.
I'm thinking South America.
Really?
With the leaves.
Colombia's too big.
Do you think?
I think it's got
Colombia's pretty good at soccer, though.
Colombia remains. Oh,
but their
what
population.
about Uruguay?
Here in a Simpsons gag.
Yeah,
You are gay. Nothing wrong with that.
No, not at all.
It's a Simpsons
2025.
gag.
Support that.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Nothing wrong with
You are gay. You are gay.
Excuse me?
that. You are gay.
You're correct.
Yeah. Got it.
Nice. So here's your third clue for the sake of the game. Its
Yeah.
name literally means river of painted birds in the indigenous Guarani language.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't have got that.
So
No,
well done,
definitely not.
lads. Well done. Guys, I'm going to get pretty dark and grim, so viewer discretion advised.
Okay.
It's not pretty, but it's good to shed some light on. So I'm going to tell the story, right? We're going back to October 13th, 1972. You guys might have heard of this, and I'm sure our listeners probably would have as well. They recently put a movie out of it maybe a year or 2 years ago. So there's a group of rugby players, friends and family. They're all boarding a plane in Montevideo, total of about 45 people on the plane. Departs from Uruguay, heading to Chile. Spirits are high, people are joking around, and someone in the back is probably flirting with a flight attendant. But the weather turns...
You say so probably. They're not. We're not sure.
Yeah, potentially. That's what you do with flight attendants. I don't know. You don't ask them for drinks.
Male flight attendants as well?
Yeah,
Yeah,
not?
well, you are gay.
You are gay.
If they're cute.
But then the weather turns, the pilots, confident but slightly lost, miscalculate their location and start descending. So initially the pilots thought they cleared the Andes mountain ranges and started to descend. The plane was rolling and rocking with severe turbulence, and the players were all joking with each other to relieve tension. That was until they saw that the aircraft was actually flying abnormally close to the mountains. And that's probably the point where the pilots realized their grave mistake. The pilots pulled back to gain altitude, and the plane was just about vertical, shaking, and just about to stall. The pilots were able to bring the nose of the plane just over the ridge, but the lower part of the tail was sheared off. 2 row seats and baggage were ripped out along with 5 passengers. The aircraft's momentum, oh no, it just closed. What did it just do? Put a pause in that one. No, we're back. Okay, so that's when
Did
the
that on
pilots
purpose. We're
realised-
just getting to the exciting part.
Leave this in.
Just take a moment there. So the aircraft momentum and remaining engine actually carried it up another 200 meters until it hit another rocky section that ripped off the remaining wing and engine. It tore through the fuselage and another 2 people fell out. The remaining plane now crashed into the snow and began to slide down the mountain range at full tilt, estimated speeds of 350 kilometers an hour. That was until it slammed into a snowbank and came to a stop. 5 people were killed instantly, crushed to death. One of the pilots had the nose gear and instrument panel compressed with him between the two. His chest was crushed and his head was forced out the cockpit window. Miraculously, one pilot actually survived and begged the survivors to get his pistol and shoot him, but they refused, and unfortunately he died the next day. All up, 33 survivors from the initial crash. Now, they're stranded 1,200 feet up on a glacier-covered mountain with nothing but the clothes on their backs and an in-flight meal of wine and peanuts. They realise 2 things. 1, rescue is not coming. 2, it's time to get creative with food.
I thought you were going to say it's time to get drunk.
One bottle of wine.
Let's drink our sorrows away.
So I'm going to put a pin in that because it does get heavy. And like I said, viewer discretion advised. But we'll chuck over to a little bit of a comedic quiz. All right, so I want you two to.
So this is
just to relieve. I'll come back to the story.
Okay.
I just wanted to break it up because
I don't mind this.
it's a lot. It's a lot. All right, time.
I think
to
we
test.
all know where this is going.
What do you mean? This is a true story, obviously, right? But if it does interest you, look it up afterwards. All right, we're going to run into a scenario and tell me what you do. Just remember, there are no good choices, only slightly less terrible ones. Scenario 1, you've just survived a plane crash in the mountains. What's your first move? A, search the wreckage for food and supplies. B, start screaming for help because obviously someone will hear you in the middle of the Andes. C, declare yourself the new king of the mountain and start planning your civilization.
I'm going with A.
What?
You definitely A, because my mind goes to, well, if the plane might explode, let's get as many supplies, especially food and water, out as quickly as possible.
Okay, yeah, A is obviously the correct choice. B is just stupid, and C, only works if you want to be the first person they eat.
Mm-hmm. The Lord
Number
of the
2,
Flies action.
It's negative 30 Celsius at night. How do you stay warm? A, cuddle up with your teammates like one big awkward rugby pile. B, cover yourself in a plane wreckage like a metal burrito. C, try to start a fire using nothing but your raw determination and sheer confidence.
Sorry, what was B? I was stuck on A.
B is...
You were looking at me like, what were you looking at me?
Okay.
Oh my God.
B was cover yourself in plane wreckage like a metal burrito.
Yeah, that's about as good as it gets.
That's pretty. That's pretty
They'd have
warm.
to be. Oh,
I'd obviously be trying to start a fire somehow.
but it's snowing or glacier conditions, right?
Yeah, I'm in the
Yes,
I'm in the wreck just.
Yeah, you got plane wreckage at least.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
jet
you
fuel.
do that after.
you got jet fuel. Or maybe, I don't know.
I'm not messing with jet
Depends.
fuel, man.
Either way, it's pretty cold. It's pretty
Yeah,
cold.
I'm tucking up into a corner somewhere.
Maybe you could combine A and B. Plane wreckage and the warmth.
Would you like to tuck into a corner with me?
Okay, so B,
B.
obviously is the best answer. B turns you into a human ice cube, and C is how you lose all feelings in your fingers. Scenario number 3, you run out of food. What do you do? A, stare.
Which is
Dun, dun, dun. A, stare at the frozen bodies around you and pretend they're not looking tastier by the day. B, pray for a pizza delivery drone that doesn't exist yet. C, accept your fate, take a deep breath, and just grab a fork and gun ho.
How far into this are we? How many days are we at?
You're hungry.
20 minutes.
You're pretty hungry.
The food on the plane was horrible. I'm so hungry.
God, lucky.
Didn't have a plant-based meal for me. Oh man,
It only ends one way.
Dude,
Yeah.
It only ends one way.
and this is the theme of this outing, isn't it?
This
We
is
know where
it
it's headed.
rolls onto. So obviously it's eat or get eaten.
Really? We escalated, man. I thought these guys were my homies.
So this now I'm just going to get into the rest of
Yeah.
the rest of the details. Okay, so this is actually one of the survivors. Actually, I don't know if they actually wrote a book or maybe they just did like a few little words, but this is from his word. So over the next few weeks, the survivors' numbers dwindled as people succumbed to their injuries or just pure malnutrition. As told by one of the survivors, our common goal was to survive, but what we lacked was food. We had long since run out of our meager pickings we'd found on the plane, and there were no vegetation or animal life to be found. After just a few days, we had the sensation that our own bodies were consuming themselves just to remain alive. Before long, we would become too weak to recover from starvation. We knew the answer, but the answer was just too terrifying to contemplate. The bodies of our friends and teammates preserved outside in the snow and ice contained the vital, life-preserving proteins that would keep us alive. But what could we do? For a long time we agonized. I went out in the snow and I prayed to God for guidance. Without his consent, I feel like I would be violating the memory of my friends, that I would be stealing their souls. We wondered whether we were just going mad to even contemplate such a deed. Had we turned into brute savages, or was this the only alternative for us to survive? Truly, we were pushing the limits of our fear. Heavy stuff. So, you guys want me to just keep going with
Yeah,
this?
punch on.
Yeah,
Sure, we can get into the ethics of this
Yeah,
afterwards.
there's a lot to tell. Okay, the group survived, obviously, by eating the bodies of their dead comrades. This decision was not taken lightly, as most of the dead were classmates, close friends, or relatives. So one of the guys, I don't know his first name, this is his last name, Parado. So he had his mum and sister on board. And he was knocked unconscious for about 3 days initially. Because obviously it's a plane crash, you're not just going to walk away from it. So he was knocked unconscious. He woke up, his mum had died initially, and his sister was still unconscious for the next 9 days or something. Oh, so he actually protected their bodies of his mum and sister, because his sister obviously ended up passing away, unfortunately. They dried the meat from the bodies in the sun to make it easier to eat. At first, they were so disgusted by the experience that they could only eat skin, muscle, and fat. But in the end, they also ate heart, lungs, and even brains.
What?
Everyone on the mountain was Roman Catholic, and they feared that this would lead to eternal damnation. Some survivors compared to the Eucharist for, guidance, the conversion of bread and wine into the body and blood of Jesus Christ. Numa Turcatti is actually our person who we're talking about. So Numa Turcatti he wasn't actually part of the team. He was convinced to go and join the team by one of his friends. So he only had one friend there. And then he just got dragged on. He was very last minute. He joined on the flight. Damn. Obviously went down. Numa Turcatti was actually the last crash survivor to pass away. He died from a leg infection and malnutrition. He weighed 25 kilos. Whoa. So that's pretty heavy, guys. Sorry about that.
So much to unpack. I have so many questions. But
Anyway, let's wrap it up.
Anyway, enjoy your day.
How long were
Eat well.
they? So how long were they out there until they got found?
I do have that somewhere. That they were like
That's
72 days. So 72 days after the crash, all the remaining survivors were rescued. After two of the strongest decided to hike out and find help. After 7 days of hiking, they found Chilean locals, and the group was rescued by helicopters.
So they hiked for 7 days.
Yeah.
In the worst shape they've ever
So
been.
I was reading up a little bit. So the pilot who was still alive and begging for them to kill her, he kept repeating that Chile is over there. So there must be a close town just over there. But the way he was pointing would have been up this goddamn mountain. So they hiked 800 meters up. And the way that the plane crashed, they were looking straight at the mountain. So for 3 days, there were 3 people who initially went out, and they saw them just hiking up. It took them 3 days. So they're just watching the whole time as they finally make it. And then when they made it up the top, there were 2 people, and they just saw more. They were expecting to see, vending machines and Netflix and Wi-Fi, but they just saw more mountains.
Yeah.
And they said, we're fucking done here.
Yeah, that's right.
And they actually said to each other, they said, I'm ready to die. You ready to die with me? And they just said, we'd rather go towards our death than wait for it to come to us.
You got to die on the way.
That's fucking brave.
Yeah.
That's brave.
I think
The Remembering Them podcast is supported by My Legacy Message. How do you want to be remembered? My Legacy Message provides a service that delivers a keepsake video to your loved ones, often as a surprise, after you pass. My Legacy Message. Be remembered.
I think I would, not long after the crash, if I was healthy enough, I'd be going to search.
Well, it's like, this is the thing I'm like amazed at. What, 72 days was it?
72 days.
Like, did we not notice that this plane didn't come in? Or like, I mean, it's the 70s.
Well,
so it's
they
not
did.
like,
So initially they were doing search and rescue,
yeah.
but you're looking at snow and a plane's not.
You think they just
You know what I mean?
missed them?
A plane's white, it's metal, so it's just reflecting back. So yeah, they actually got this little transistor. They made it work, and then they could hear the reports that they were like, "Oh, we're going to stop the search. We haven't found anyone for 2 weeks."
Yeah,
so
and it's hard because it's not like they have a fire or flares or whatever.
Yeah, they had the metal to
Yeah.
try and reflect, but I mean, a plane.
Yeah.
I would have just thought this is a flight path. So it's not like it's a needle in a haystack. It's like along this way, they're going to be somewhere. 72 days.
You'd think, but the Andes are pretty
Interesting.
big.
I mean,
The Andes.
obviously they were trying because I'm not like, you guys are idiots.
Oh, well.
Why don't you just fly over and have a look? But that's wild.
Yeah. Yep.
Because when you're telling this story, I'm thinking, how long would it take me to get to the point where I'm thinking about eating human flesh?
Oh man.
It's
I'd have to be nearly gone, like
Yeah.
right at the end.
Yeah.
I think.
I think so. You start to get like delirious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To the
Yeah.
point where you're just like, whatever.
Yeah.
And and ethically, I wouldn't feel bad at all because in these situations I always put myself in the position and I'm like,
Yeah.
if I died, absolutely, mate, cook me up.
Go in.
Get in. Like
It's not going to taste
I
good.
think
but-
my
okay,
butt's a good cut, I reckon. Like just get in.
Question
Nice
for
and
you,
meaty.
question for you, Luke, as a survivor. Ryan or myself, who are you eating first?
This is
gotta
what
be
I was
me,
hoping
right?
this would eventuate to. How much do you guys weigh? I'm going for pure survival here. Ryan's got a bit more gristle, a bit more beard, though, so it's not the easiest to get through. Maybe it's more comforting
And
eating
how would
family
you?
members.
How would you choose?
People
It'd be
I
Well,
don't know first.
So
Yeah.
some of the survivors who were on the way out probably realised they were, and they actually gave them permission. They said, "Yes, you can eat me," isn't like
Yeah.
for survival.
They're just like, I'm heading out. Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to think that I would do the same. If I'm on the way out, I'd be like, yeah,
And they just dried them out. Like,
yeah. There's no barbecue.
actually-
could we get the fires? Do we not have
This
fires?
is a little side note. I read this morning because this is very last minute for me. I read this morning that later on, like a few weeks into the actual crash, they were all in the fuselage. So they'd made this little fuselage, their little camp, whatever you may have it. And one
Fuselage.
night, fuselage, sorry.
That's what you did then.
So one night there was an avalanche came down and it just, I think initially it killed like 5 people. I might be wrong. If someone's going to fact check this, let us know if I'm wrong. But it killed a few people and then they were obviously buried under snow with dead bodies now. So they actually, they ate them
They're fresh.
as well. And they're fresh and they're warm. And they I can't remember the exact words, but they were just like, yeah, it was a lot easier to eat because it was,
Oh my God.
somewhat
God.
cooked. I guess.
Oh, dude. This
a
is
lot.
messed up.
But then you were still stuck in this fuselage together with, just
it's
corpses.
fuselage, but I liked where you went with lodge because it's a nice little lodge.
So who's the actual interesting person?
Numa Turcatti.
Numa Turcatti. So he survived.
Who cares about him?
No, he survived the initial crash, but he was the last person to pass away from
Oh, right.
a leg infection. So he was actually one of,
leg
there were
infection.
4 people who were saying, we're going to get you guys to go out and hike because we're going to die.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He pushed on as far as he could, but then he came back because his leg was
yeah.
real bad leg infection. So there's I
Jeez.
think the Netflix put Society of the Dead. Look it up because it follows Numa Turcatti and it's his voice narrating it. So he's the last person to pass away out of the group. But people are still alive today. Like this was only in the 70s.
Let's get them on.
They're young. Yeah, if they're listening, yeah.
Surely they're easy to get on. No one's not a lot of demand anymore.
It's a bit of a heavy one, boys. Sorry about that.
No, that was
But
Sounds rough, man.
So much to unpack. In
Are we
a
ready
short
for lunch?
period of time.
Lunchtime?
Yeah, let's go.
starving.
I'm going to have a salad.
Steak around.
Good lord.
We can see if this one works. I've also got a little game as well. So we're forming a survival team in the Andes. You can pick 3 people from any historical or fictional characters. Who do you take?
Well, Bear Grylls, obviously, number 1.
Why?
Well, you're just going to be drinking piss. And
He's a big piss drinker.
Big human eater as well. or
He's easy to keep satisfied.
3 people.
3 people. Discuss among Bear Grylls. I think that's a great.
Yeah, you need
Goggins.
a survival. You need a survival guy.
Goggins in there.
Yeah, Goggins would be good because
and
he would
MacGyver.
just go. He would just
No one knows MacGyver, mate.
What do we got? Gen Z listening to this? MacGyver's the guy.
They're good picks. Yeah, maybe you
gonna
could
run
switch
me?
out MacGyver.
MacGyver's.
I like Bear Grylls. Yeah, survivalist.
How about this?
Bit of controversy around the realism of his.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But,
that's
but
right.
anyway, let's assume it's all legit.
What about Gordon Ramsay? For his survival tactics.
This friend of yours is rubbish.
I'm not eating that.
If you head up that mountain and get some basil.
So here's the third.
Yeah, totally.
Legitimate, not Gordon.
These are all great answers. What do you want to
Gordon
lock
Ramsay
this?
would be great.
You want to lock this in so we know what, just in case.
Well, I am. This is
Ramsay's
the motivation because I'm flying to Bolivia next week, so I'll be flying over the Andes. So if this does
submitted his
happen,
leave request? I haven't seen
I'll be
anything
logging in
about
from
this.
a sex mate.
I'm sure the Wi-Fi will be good. Man, I don't know. Maybe someone that you just set up to eat them.
Someone in the army. I think someone in the army.
Someone sizable.
This couldn't. There'd be no women in this team.
You. You could. I mean, women are more nurturing and caring. There was actually a woman.
That's true,
who
but we need
survived.
action. We need knife cutting. We need fire making.
We're going down a rough path here. Luke, that was a great episode.
Put a pin in that. Yeah,
Let's finish that.
Ryan's,
let's go
getting
back to
unhinged.
it.
He's getting-
Really good episode. A pretty grim one, but you did give that warning. Thank you for hosting today. Reminder to our listeners, if you like this episode, share and with your friends and family, especially if they're travelling, just for something easily listening before they jump on a flight. Share with your family and friends. Like and rate the podcast, ideally 5 stars. We'd love you to support the podcast if you jump on our Patreon and support us that way. My Legacy Message service is always available for everyone as well to record. And Luke, that might be a good one for you before you head on your trek. Record a video message for us
no one
just in
wants to
case
hear
something
from me.
happens.
Who are you flying with?
Bear Grylls.
The same group that went on that trip. And lastly, we would love for you to, what was the last thing I need? Support the podcast, rate and review the podcast, My Legacy, and follow us on all of our socials. So YouTube.
Just give us kudos.
Yeah, just jump on all.
Just
Just
help
support
us
us. Just support us. Thank you very much, Luke, for hosting this interesting persons episode.
Boys,
It's a
let's
rough one,
go.
but very entertaining.
Let's tuck in. Let's eat. I'm starving.
Break for lunch.
Bye, mate.
Thank you for listening. We'll see you then. Then looking forward to the next episode. Love you both.
See you, boys.
Love you, bye-bye.
Bye.
The Remembering Them podcast is created for entertainment purposes. Mark and Ryan are not licensed mental health professionals. If you would like to discuss your mental well-being, several free resources are available in Australia. Information about these services is available in the podcast notes. Please take the time to contact a loved one today and tell them how much you appreciate and love them.